starting out by mapping out where I want the half skull to be. I kind of wanted to do the bottom half of my face instead of going vertically. I kind of wanted to go horizontally. I want to make sure I was saying that right. Anyway, I'm going in with these water-activated face paints. I got this whole palette off Amazon, and it was like $30, so not too bad, especially if you're going to be doing a lot of face painting. So I'm starting out just mapping out where I want the skull to start, and I'm kind of making sure that I go in the direction where like eye sockets would be, so that's why it kind of dips down below. I didn't want it just to be a straight line. If it's not 100% symmetrical on both sides, you can even it out as you go, but once everything's done, you're not going to be able to tell that much. So I'm just going in and filling in mostly everything with the white. You want to go in with the white first, because if you go in with black first, you can easily make everything look gray. So unless that's what you're going for, I would do the white first. And then you'll see in a second, I'm kind of sketching out where I want the black to be, and then I'm gonna fill it in with black. So you kind of want to play up the contours and the highlights of the face. Everything that's going to be black is kind of where you would contour, so like the jaw, the teeth, and everything like that. And then the white is obviously the highlights, what you want to bring forward. So I honestly had no idea what I was doing at this point, but you'll see in a second, once I go in with the black, it starts to come together. This was actually really hard because instead of drawing, you kind of had to do the opposite. So take your time with it. I just kind of wanted to let you know, just in case you have no idea what you're doing in this situation like I did. I'm just drawing in the nose because I needed to take a break from the face because I was having a hard time with it. But I'm just going in and filling in more of the white and making sure that I'm leaving where I want the black to be open, because I'm going to go in later and fill it in with black. You basically want everywhere that there's bone to be white, and then where there's empty space or hollows or contours, you basically want that to be black. So this shape in the middle that I have here is where there's no like empty space, I guess. When your jaw is shut, you're going to see the teeth, but then since the skeleton doesn't have any skin, that's kind of where the black comes into play, because it's kind of mimicking nothing there. So that's another reason why we do white and black. Or if you want to change out the colors, just make sure that the contours or hollows or anywhere where there's empty space is a darker color than your highlighted area. So right here, I'm really just making sure that I'm fading the black out, because I don't want there to be any harsh lines, and I want it to fade into the white. And then I'm going in and filling in everything else in the middle with white, and going over my lips too, because I want the background of the teeth to be white. And then I'm kind of blending in the white with the black because I want it to be really faded. I don't want there to be any harsh lines or anything like that. And then make sure to go over your lips with white, because you want the background of the teeth to be white. And then I'm following the natural gaps in my teeth to create the teeth here. You kind of want to start with vertical lines, and then go in and draw the details of the teeth. I'm also extending my mouth a little bit, just so it looks like we have more teeth, and it kind of gives that rounded effect and not just like 4 little teeth in the front. I'm extending the teeth a couple past my natural lips because I want it to really look like the skin was just pulled back and you're just exposing all these teeth, if that makes sense. So yeah, I'm just making sure that I do a couple more teeth past my lips. And then here comes the hardest part, the details of the teeth. This took me forever to do, but when you keep doing it, you kind of get the hang of it. So I suggest starting on the outer part of the teeth and working your way in, because the outer ones are going to look a little bit worse than the inner ones, so that's just my suggestion. But I read somewhere that you kind of want to draw little Hershey kisses, and that will help you out with the teeth. So that's kind of what I was picturing right here, but it took a couple to get the hang of it, so just start on the outside first. And then I'm lining the middle of my mouth with black. I'm gonna be honest, this was actually really hard, and at this point, I didn't know what I was doing. Um, but what kind of helped me was to picture it opposite. So instead of like drawing something and filling in the inside, draw the tooth and then fill in the outside because the black space is where the gums should have been, but it's empty space, so that's why we're filling it in with black. And then make sure that the teeth are white. So instead of like drawing the tooth and filling it in with black, kind of fill in behind it, if that makes sense, to make the teeth look like they're more 3D. So that's what helped me when I was continuing to do the teeth, and do the same thing with the bottom. But you just kind of have to get the hang of it because it is very hard, and this was my first time attempting a skull, and it was probably one of the hardest face paints that I've ever done, because I don't normally draw things on myself. I more just like create myself to be something. So this was very challenging for me, but I'm actually really proud of myself that I got through it and it looked decent. So yeah. It also helps if your brush is kind of dry and it doesn't have a lot of product on it, because it kind of makes or lets you fade it out a little bit instead of just having like spots of black on the teeth. And then I'm going back in after that and blending out some of the lines. And then on the bottom, what helped me was to go from the little gaps in the teeth and draw a Y and then fill in the middle of the Y, like kind of like an upside down Y. If that makes sense, that's just kind of what helped me draw the little details of the teeth on the bottom because I just spent all this time on the top and then I had to kind of flip it upside down. So that's just what I was picturing in my head when I was drawing it. Sorry if my explanations don't make any sense to you. My brain kind of works differently, is what I always tell people, because I don't know, I just feel like I just picture things and do things differently than a lot of different people. So if I'm not making any sense, just go ahead and watch what I'm doing. If you're a visual learner, you will just pick it up because that's what YouTube is for. It's just picking up different techniques. The bottom was definitely easier than the top, so if you're going to try this out for the first time and you're a little nervous, I would definitely start with the bottom first just to kind of warm you up for it. And then I'm going in and whitening the teeth a little bit, so I'm just going in and inside all the teeth, going over it with the white face paint just to make sure that the teeth pop. You want the black to look like it's receding and the white to look like it's popping forward. That's what's going to make the teeth look more 3D. And then I'm just filling in the nose with black. And then at this point, it was kind of looking a little flat, so I just created shadows in other areas of the face just so it looked more 3D instead of like I painted it on my skin. So anywhere that you create shadows, you also want to highlight. So I kind of created the shadow and then around it made sure that it was really crisp and white, with the face paint, and then I went around and made little cracks in the skull. It's just going to give it a little bit more detail and character. I'm shading in with some black eyeshadow in little spots too, just so it gives a little bit more dimension. And then I thought that this skull needed to be a little bit more glam and have a little bit more detail, so I'm taking the Ben Nye glitter glue and putting glitter all in the teeth. The camera wasn't focusing because the glitter was too sparkly, so I kind of just had to fast forward through this, but basically take any glitter glue and put glitter on in the teeth and it really just looks cool. So I wanted to kind of draw melting drips, I guess, from the skull, but then I decided that I just wanted to be really glittery and colorful. So I splattered paint and glitter all over my neck and chest to kind of tie in the costume and tie in the glitter on the teeth. And I also did little splatters on my forehead. And then I had pink and blue hair chalk that I just ran through the ends of my hair. So I kind of just think that it pulls everything together. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you in my next tutorial. Bye!